guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. A great big shout out to my channel members for supporting my channel. Thank you. Okay, I haven't talked much this weekend, so if my voice sounds weird, because it sounds weird to me, that's probably why. As you can see, it is part 4 in my coloring book collection and completed pages series. In this video, we're going to be talking about all of my Eerie coloring books. Eerie is one of my auto-buy artists, sort of. I think when it was first released, you could get these readily enough on Amazon, or eventually. But right now, I think Eerie, as a Japanese artist, is just predominantly working with the Japanese market. And so any of the newer things, especially after the Romantic Country series, I get from Amazon Japan. And I have found that it's just cheaper in the long run if I stack books, 2 or 3 or 4 books versus just buying one-offs. And so if I see something that's come out from Eerie, then I'll definitely go on Amazon and see if there's anything else, or Amazon Japan, and see if there's anything else that I can get at the same time because of the shipping cost. Now, right now, the yen to dollar ratio is in favor of the dollar, which is good for us, not so much for the Japanese market. But still, I don't want to pay any more than I have to for shipping. And because they stack it regarding the number of books that you have, it just makes more sense. So what I wanted to point out before we get started, and it might be a little awkward, but there are 3 distinct series, and hopefully you guys can see that. The Romantic Country series, if you have the original Dusk jackets, the spines are all in black. The Tracing books, the spines are all in white. And then the new-ish World series, I've got the colorful spines, again, if you have the original Dusk jacket. Now, I never take Dusk jackets off if I can help it, and especially with my Eerie books, it does help me just really easily identify different books, because I know, okay, if I'm looking for a Tracing book, then I just pick out the white ones. A Romantic Country, at least I can read that on the side of the spine, and then I know that the newest one is the purple, and then I just got to figure out if I want one of these other 2 instead. So I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but because it is literally right in front of me when I'm looking at it, that's something that I realized once I got the entire collection. And as far as I'm aware, I do have Eerie's entire coloring book collection. I think she also has some drawing books, but I don't have those. So let's get started with my completed pages. Now, the way that I look at these, because I did not translate what this says on the cover, is this one here is Eerie Postcards 2021. This is Eerie Postcards 2022. Now, I actually couldn't tell you if that's what it says, but that's how I classify it for myself. Of the 2, I do prefer this one, and that's because I love the images. Again, Eerie's one of my favorite artists, but I hate that there are doubles. I don't generally color doubles, and this other one doesn't have that. But the images that are here, I really enjoy. Now, as in previous videos, Olga Rani's Find and Color really drives a lot of my work. The tabs that are in Dusky Rose, I will keep just because that way when I do this video again in 2024 or whenever it is, I'm just trying to get a count of how many pages I've completed this year, then I don't have to go through all of my books again. So any other colors that you'll see kind of mean something. For Finding Color, the prompt was teacup, and this was done in an assortment of pencils and alcohol markers. Eerie is one of the few artists that I am not willing to sacrifice the second page if I can help it. I've had some bleed through and some mishaps, but it wasn't expected, but it wasn't on purpose. Now this, because it is, at least in my mind, single-sided, then I don't care, because I don't plan on sending any of these as postcards. I did this for Fine and Color of book, and this one was really fun. I believe it's alcohol markers and some Graffitint paint. And then I did this one, and this was for finding color of feather. And I think Poet had a hashtag of masquerade color. I've got some notes here, but they don't always help me. But that also was in alcohol marker. So it's really cute. It's just the whole double images is just not something I've ever really been a fan of. But this is Eerie's Postcards 2021. Again, that might say something. I don't know what it says. This is Eerie Postcards 2022. Again, that's how I class it in my mind. And this one I like a lot better because even though the images are related to each other, and you definitely can tell that as you're going through it, they are not the same image, and I really appreciate that. Now, in my coloring book journal, which will finish this video like I have with my other, you'll see that I have 0 completed pages in here, even though I do, because I didn't complete this until 2023. Again, all of my completed pages that I'm counting are up and through the end of 2022. This one was for Olga Rani Finding Color of Mermaid. And on here, there's stickles, there's pencils, and some alcohol marker. Yeah, I love the imagery in these little books. And so that's Eerie Postcards 2022. Now, when it comes to the full-size books, I don't know that I have any favorites. It's an art style that I like. It's very whimsical. It's very fanciful. It's very fantasy, fairy tale-ish. And those are all things that I really enjoy. But the very first... Oh, I did this out of order, but this is Romantic Country, the third tale. And I think this is one of the few I have very few in. So I did this completed page, and this was a buddy color with my girl Poet Spice. This also counted for Johanna Lynn's Celebration 2021, because this was done back in 2021. And this is Erogetin pencils, but also some Tombow water-based marker and some Jelly Roll. Now, when I talked about my Maria Trolle pages, and I told you that I was traumatized by one of the ones that I had done with Emma because I had coated it with that glaze medium. Well, at the very same time, because this was also May of 2021, I was doing a buddy color with Erica over from Elm Colors, and I did the exact same thing with glaze medium, and I hated it until I didn't. Now, I don't like how pencils feel on that. I actually don't mind the texture it gives because I also used a foam brush and a really heavy layer, and I didn't do it right because I kind of half pay attention to things. And this was one of the first, if not the first, buddy color that I did with Erica. And like that Maria Trolle page that I did with Emma, of Emma Colors, I'm like, oh, I ruined it. I don't want to have to buy this book again. And it's a little traumatizing, but I have to say, while I think that glaze medium might have just totally shredded my Tombow markers, the glaze medium and water-based markers works so beautifully. When you blend water-based markers on the glaze medium, it moves like watercolor. You can blend, you can get such a rich saturation. And if I weren't so lazy, I'd actually coat more pages. So this eventually, once I discovered that little fact, then I loved it. And I really love how this looks. I don't actually like coloring water or fish or birds, but I did enjoy this once I realized, okay, maybe I didn't ruin it. But this was my double page spread, and the only other completed pages in this book. I did count this as 2 pages because, literally it is. But that's my completed pages from Romantic Country, the third tale. Since we're out of order, because that's how it's stacked up there, we're going to go through Romantic Country, the second tale. And so I did do this back in 2021. And I know when people are doing their completed pages videos, they can see a progression of their style or of their skill. Honestly, I just color because it helps me de-stress. It makes me feel creative and productive. So there are some pages that I really just don't like, and that's just because things went wrong. I couldn't tell you that my skill has gotten better because it's not something that I focus on. And I do know that this took time. All of these pages took time, and I'm not going to get real down on myself. I'm not going to try to bash myself, because if I enjoyed the process, then my time wasn't wasted. If it doesn't look as nice as I think it could have, well, that's a different issue altogether. And that could be impatience, that could be the mediums that I use, it could just be I didn't know any better. But when I'm watching people's completed pages videos and they really get down on themselves, I always feel bad for them, because one, I usually think it's really pretty, but two, regardless of what the outcome was, at least for me personally, did you enjoy the process at that moment in time? I mean, it's always easy to, with hindsight, to go back and say, oh, I should have done this and this and this, but that's kind of the thing with hindsight, right? You always know what you could have done differently or better. I don't know. It's always been an interesting concept to me that you'd look at something and just get down on yourself when that took hours and hours in this case. Is there things I could have done differently? Sure, but I'm not going to do it again, so who cares? And that's definitely my philosophy. Some people I know struggle with perfectionism or being intimidated by things, and luckily that's not something I struggle with. What I struggle with sometimes is overcommitting myself, or just committing myself and then not wanting to do it because I'm just not feeling it. That is something I've lessened over the years. But when I first started this coloring book hobby, I was like, do all the things, do all the things, do all the things. And I enjoyed it. And yet it was overwhelming to me. Any hoodles. This was a buddy color with my girl Poet Spice. This was done with Inktense paint pencils. I actually use a lot more of the paint pans now, but I do like the finish, although it does warp the page. And this is that case I was saying that I did not intentionally try to mess up this side, because if I did, I would have used alcohol markers, but there definitely has been bleed through, some significant bleed through. Now, this is not necessarily a page I would color, but if I did, I could either just color over it and just deal, or I could use some of my gouache paint. But yeah, that's one of the few cases where I didn't realize I either put too much pencil or to put too much water, or try to do layer on top of layer on top of layer without letting things dry. I have a problem with that. And so that's kind of what happened. This image is kind of an outlier to me, because there's not a lot of these type of images where they're big and stained glassy, but this was the very first page that I ever tried my Inktense pencils on. So I'm glad I did it. And there are definitely things I prefer the Inktense pencils to do. These big spaces is not one of them. And then this one took forever. It was, at the time when I was really concerned with whips, it was something that I had started in March 2021, but did not finish until May 2021, because I had done the background in sort of this faux bokeh style, and then I just didn't know where to go from there, but I just decided to finish it. I did realize over the months and now years of this coloring book hobby that I don't get fussed by whips. If I start something, these days it's usually because it's a buddy color or a prompt in the community, but if I just walk away from it, then there's usually a reason. And if I come back to it, great. If I don't care. I'm actually more concerned of untouched books than I am of having any pending whips. And then I do have a page marked. Oh, and this is a buddy color. I know with Poet, but I think it might have also included Pixie and Deb. I've got multiple group buddies with just Deb and me, Pixie and me, Poet and me. I think Pixie, Poet, and I have. And then Pixie, Deb, Poet, and I have. So sometimes I know it's a buddy color. I can look at this page and instantly think, yeah, buddy color. I don't know who it's with. So if and when I ever do this, then I'll just share it with all of them. Because, yeah, I don't know. But those are my completed pages out of this Romantic Country, the second tale by Eerie. This is the original Romantic Country. Obviously this one and that second one that I just showed you are in English. I think the third one might have been in English, but by the time I joined the coloring book community and became aware of this artist, I think it was already out of print. I don't care that these books are in Japanese. It's a Japanese artist and they should have their books in the native language. And unless they're using a publisher here in the States, there'd be no reason to change all of the language to English. And it could be a inventory issue. It could be a cost issue. It could be just working with publishers internationally. I don't know. But so long as it's on Amazon Japan, I'll go there and get the Japanese edition. I mean, I don't expect American or English artists, especially if they are small, to have all of their books translated in all of the different languages, especially if they are through regular publishing houses with the better paper, because then I imagine there's a cost outlay. With Amazon print jobs, you just send it if you were sending something from Kinko or FedEx or someplace where you can just print on demand. These have to be printed and stored, and I'm sure there's a cost issue. So I've heard in the past when I was watching videos that people wish the artist would get it in their language, but that's not the first language for the artist. So I never have the expectation that they'll go out of their way to make things easier for me. But that's just me. Now, this very first page, I'm not a fan of, and that's just because of this background area. I actually don't mind the rest of this, but I had started something and it was one of those things where, yeah, it's a lot of open space and I was bored and I didn't know how to do something. So I just kept doing stuff and doing stuff and doing stuff. And eventually I just got to the point, let's just put some color and call it a day. So I enjoyed aspects of this, but there's aspects I didn't. Would I do something like this again? I probably would use Distress ink and a stencil and call it a day. Would I do this much pencil work? Absolutely not, especially since I don't actually like the finish. But it's more an impatience on my part. Also, I don't look things up, or I kind of half pay attention to how I've seen other people do things. I don't write colors down, so you can see that there's some different colors here than there are up here. And yeah, it's just, okay, it's done. It's done. I did enjoy this. This is done with Holbein pencils, and I think Holbeins work really well in this coloring book. At the time, I only had the pastel Holbeins. Oh no, I think I must have gotten some more, because in the pastel set, it doesn't have these browns, and I don't have any other medium on here. I did do this as a buddy color with my friend Sarah of Chronic Coloring Down Under. This was done back in 2021. No, 2022. Because this was also a Colorapoly prompt for 2022. So I updated that. But I really like the finish of this, and I really like how those pencils worked in here. This very limited color palette. I remember being sick because this was a finding color for grapes for Olga Rani, but I did the page but never actually sent it to her because I wasn't feeling well. But pink and green is my favorite color combination, and so I really love the look of this, and it was one of those I just decided not to do a background. This one right here, the only thing I wish I had done differently is made the grass either lighter or darker, because I think the basket kind of scenes ones where it either looks like old paper or wood, because I love how this looks. I actually love how all of this looks. I didn't write the medium, but it's definitely a pencil page, and at the time I probably had my Prismas and my Brett Funners. Been really happy with the way that this looks. And then this is recent. I believe this was done December 2022. And this was a buddy color with Tammy Colors too. And because of Tammy Colors, I actually have been doing a lot more Eerie pages because we do an Eerie page in one of our various books every single month. That's why I know it's 2022, because I don't think we started doing that until 2022. Now this is done with Inktense paint pans. There's some Moonlight Glaze. There's Moonlight Pentel glaze, some white gel pen, some dual hybrid metallic, and some distress crayons, but no pencil. More and more these days, I'm not doing a lot of pencil work just because it's taxing on my hands. But that is my completed pages from Eerie's original Romantic Country. Now, I don't generally link books, it's just humbug, but if there's anything that you see, especially any of the books from Amazon Japan, let me know. I can go through my order history and just link it. It won't be an affiliate, but at least it'll be easier for you to get to if there is something that you're interested in. Now, I love these tracing books, but they are definitely time consuming. And so this is the tracing festivals around the world. And I have one completed page in this. I did this as a buddy color with my friend Erica over at Elm Colors. And then I've got some things marked. So this I will finish before the end of March. Tammy and I are doing this as a buddy color for 2023 for March. And then this I just marked because I've already done the outline, because this is what it looks like when it's not outlined, but I have not colored in it. I don't consider this a whip, just because unless there's color on the page, to me this is just a line art page, but it's not a whip to me. Now this one, as you can see, I have done my ink work with a Pigma Micron pen in green, black, and brown, because that's what I plan to do the coloring on this, and just I'm interested to see what the effect will be when I do some water mediums on here with an outline of a very similar color, how that will translate, because I don't know that I generally do this. I generally just outline in black and then color like a regular line art page. And then for the clouds, I probably will just white those lines out once I put a blue background. But I definitely do prefer to do the line art in a waterproof pen and then do my medium on top of that. But once this page is done, I'll see if Tammy wants to do another page in here, because as far as my books go, this is one of the few that I only have just the one completed page. But this is Eerie's Tracing Festivals Around the World. This one I have a few more. This is Tracing the World. Again, I didn't write things down, and honestly, I don't care. But I do have one, just like in that other one, where I've already done the line art in a black Pigma pen. So that's just ready for me to color. This one I did for Olga Rani's Find in Color of Camel. This was done in Neocolor 2, Brett Funners, Pentel Dual Hybrid Metallic, and the glitter is done with some High Chromatics watercolor paint. I also did this one for Olga Rani's Find in Color of Lotus. And then I did this one. This is a double page spread, and I don't know how I counted this in the journal. I did this because of Rashmi. She had a hashtag of India coloring back in 2021. Is that right? It must be. Everything says 2021. And she had done the hashtag for Diwali, and so I did a little bit of research, and then I did this mostly in Tombow water-based marker, mild liner, twin tone, and some paints. By the color, it was Inktense paint pans as well as Graphy Tint. But I liked researching that because prior to this, I did not know what Diwali was. And any of the channels I mentioned, I'll go ahead and link them in the description box below. But that's my completed pages. Let me just double check my journal. Yeah, I did count this as a double page spread. And those are my completed pages out of this. Tracing Around the World. Let's just call it that. This is Tracing World History by Eerie, and there's quite a few completed pages in here. This I did for Finding Color of Swan. At the time, I was still doing Corey's alphabet challenge, where a letter was selected for the month. The letter for February 2022 was G, and so the way I was doing that challenge was just using colors by way of pencils and up to 5 for the monthly challenge. I don't know if she's still doing it. She must have gone through the entire alphabet by now, but I stopped just because towards the ending of 2022, I actually wasn't coloring that much. This was another one of those Corey limited marker or limited pencil challenges, and that's why the colors are like that, because I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pencils. Yeah, that started with the letter. Did I write the letter down? I did not. But whatever this letter was. I like the page. I think it's super colorful. This one I did recently. I believe it was towards the tail end of 2022. I think the Finding Color prompt was for Planet. This was done predominantly in Inktense paint pans, Graphy Tint paint, and then some glaze pen, as well as some water-based marker. This was a buddy color with my friend Tammy. This was done with Inktense paint pan, sorry, brain fart there, and was an Olga Rani Finding Color, but it was one of the monthly ones, and it was Around the World. And then the way I tied the page together was using the same paint pans in all the different sections, and then using the glaze pen in all of the different sections if I could. And I really like the look of this. And then this here was a buddy color with my friend Tammy. This was, I think, those crayons that my friend Pixie had sent me. There's the Deli plastic crayons. I love the look of this. I hated working with them because they didn't have a lot of pigment, and it was really hard to put color down. It was really hard to blend colors. But the look of this, I think, is spectacular. Although I could get the same look, I think, with some of my other pencils, but I'm not one of those people that when I'm working with pencils, I need to get rid of all of the white space. I don't. I mean, I'm a hobbyist. I'm not a colorist. I don't need to look professional. I just need it to look pretty or cute, or just make me happy to look at it and know that I'm spending my time on it. So seeing the marks there, seeing the paper peeking through, I mean, it's a coloring book. It's not a magazine page. But I do love looking at this. I just remember my hand and my shoulder were just tore up. And I could not tell you when this was done. It was done in 2022 because, of course, I didn't write it down. But those are my completed pages out of this Eerie's Tracing World History. This is, I think, Eerie's Travels Around the World. Not a tracing book, but I do have a few completed in here. I did this for Olga Rani's Finding Color of Weapon. This is Athena. This also could have counted, and I think I actually did count this when she did her summer Finding Color of Medusa. Because there's very limited Medusa, well, at least I thought there was, she said you could post a picture. She'd already posted before, so I did post this twice to her. This is a recent one, June 2022. This is a buddy color with my friend Tammy, and this is a lot of Inktense paint pans. I don't use my pencils hardly ever anymore. The paint pans are just a lot easier for me, but there are some Prisma pencil work on top of that, as well as some dual hybrid metallic and some glaze pen. And I don't think this was a prompt for anything, but I really like how this looks. Tammy's one was spectacular as well, and I just love the color choices of this. And then this one I did back in 2020, or I finished in 2022. I actually started it the year before. And this is predominantly water-based marker. There is a little bit of bleed through there and there. Again, this is a water page, so the likelihood that I'm going to do this is very small, but it's not that bad that if I decided to do this, I couldn't. I absolutely could. But water-based marker actually works really well on here. And I just love the look of this. So this was a Coloropoly prompt, just to complete a whip. And because I had started this, I thought to finish that one. And then this was also for one of the monthly prompts for Finding Color of Smile. But again, really love how this looks. And those are my completed pages out of here. Eerie's Travels Around the World. Let's just make stuff up. This is her newest one other than the postcard, and this is World Legends and Magic. I've seen a lot of different translations. It's hard when you're doing a translator or using a translator app on this because it's so stylized, it may not pick up the right letter in kanji. So let's just call it World Legends and then keep it at that. I do have several pages completed in here. This was done for Halloween in 2022. This was a buddy color with my girl Tammy. I love how this looked, and I definitely liked it more once I did the acrylic background because I originally had not planned to do that, but it just kind of got lost, especially with the ghosts on the edges here. So once I added the black, I think it made the page. This one was actually a buddy color with Anne of Pretty Pages 71. I think this is the very first page I completed in this book. Again, a lot of Inktense paint pans. There's some high chromatic. Is there some pencil work on here? Who knows? I didn't write it down. And no bleed through. That's good. And then this one here, this picture always makes me smile, and only because this looks like a goat unicorn to me. This does not look like a horse to me, but it's a unicorn with a little toupee action. This was also a buddy color with my girl Tammy. And I know there's Distress ink. I know that there is some Inktense paint pans. There's some white gel, some high chromatic. There definitely was some bleed through here. Now this is something I definitely would color, and that is not problematic to me. There's definitely some bleed through there, but I can just cover that up. And if it still peeks through, again, I'm not a professional colorist, I'm not selling this, so it's just so long as I'm enjoying the process, then I really don't care. But this is Eerie's World Legends and Magic book. And then my final Eerie book is Eerie Fairy Tales. Let's go with Eerie Fairy Tales. I completed this Puss in Boots. This was for Coloropoly. I think it was Fairy Tales. And then this was one of Corey's letter alphabet challenges. And this was done with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. It started with B and all pencils because I did have I was doing an alcohol marker challenges 3, but again, these are not books I do alcohol marker work in. I think he looks really good. This one makes me laugh because for Pixie's Disney Challenge, I think the prompt, it was from Tangled, because the little chameleon is the little thing she pulled out of the glass jar she has. And so I was just coloring Rapunzel. And it was fine. I mean, it was from Tangled. But it didn't dawn on me until afterwards when I was posting things like, oh, no, wait, I should have colored chameleon. Whatever. This was done with Inktense paint pans. I really like the look of it. Again, it's something that has a lot of open spaces, but I'll do pages that I generally would not color if it's for a prompt in the community. Now, this one has a lot of color tabs on it. This is actually one of my favorite completed pages because I decided to treat this, well, okay, first I decided I was going to use my water-based markers, and then I colored her in gray, and then I wanted to tone everything down because the water-based markers I had used were really bright and vibrant. So I decided to turn this into a night page. I cannot tell you if that moon was there or not. And instead of having her as an actual mermaid, I wanted her to be a statue of a mermaid. I believe in the Rhine River, there is a statue of Lorelei, statue made of cement or whatever statues are made of. And I really love how muted this is because generally with Eerie pages, unless I'm using specific mediums, I like it to be bright and vibrant because I find the pages bright and vibrant. But yeah, this definitely does give me a different vibe. And this was also a buddy color with my friend Tammy. So this is the only other rose colored tab in here. I did this to start the introduction of my Coloring the Year of the Tiger back in 2021. This was done with Ganzai Tambi, Pentel Dual Hybrid Metallic, and it's a very minimal color palette, black, red, and gold. Gold and red are good luck colors in a lot of Asian cultures, and so I knew that I wanted to do something in that. There's a little bit of blue in the clouds here, but really this is about these right here. Now let's look what these other tabs are. Oh, this was done in 2023, so this is not going to count. This was also done in 2023, so when I get my coloring book journal, you'll see I didn't count these numbers. And then this one I'm doing with my friend Poet, probably sometime in April 2023, and it'll go towards her hashtag of birthday goodies for Poet because these are just big books. So yeah, those are my completed pages out of Eerie's World Fairy Tales. I think that's what we were calling this. Yeah. So let me get my coloring book journal and I'll be right back. All right, so this is my Maisie Lane Co. A5 dot grid journal, as I've mentioned and will continue to mention. They no longer make journals, but I mean, really any A5 journal will do if you want something similar to mine. All of these right here, if you can see that kind of pale light blue, are all the books that we discussed. There are 11 books in total, which is perfect because that's the amount of spaces that I had remaining. So for the Eerie Postcards 2021, I had 3 completed pages. For 2022, I had 0, because again, this only counts completed pages up and through 2022. For Romantic Country, I had 4. Romantic Country number 2, also 4. Romantic Country number 3, 3. Tracing World History, I have 5. Around the World Tracing Book, I have 5. The Tracing Festivals of the World, again, like I said, I only have the 1, so that's definitely something I'm going to concentrate on. The World Legends and Magic, there were 3. The World Travels, there were 3. And World Fairy Tales, there were also 3. So not too bad considering those are generally either paint or pencil pages for me. I did a tally. Now my number might be wrong. I might have to put this into a spreadsheet so it's easier to calculate. But of the 35 books that you see here, I have completed 108 pages. Now if I were a spicy cat, I'd have a percentage for you, and I'm probably going to do that once I'm done with this series, but right now I've got the data. I can figure out what that data means to me afterwards. And then for 2023, I don't know if I'm just going to do like +1, +3, +10, or if I'm just going to have the actual count to add up at the bottom here. Again, the way that I'm foreseeing this is 1, all of the books will stay on the same shelf, and 2, I can do this over a period of years, just really to see, okay, I have an extensive coloring book collection. You're going to see that. You probably already noticed that already. But I don't want a collection of collectibles. I want a collection that is a working collection. And so if I have books that I have not colored in, then do I want to keep them? And I bought them, so why not? Or do I need to get rid of them? And that's really kind of part of what this all is, to help me figure out. Plus, it looks really organized. And when I saw Patty and Spicy Cat do this, I'm like, yeah, it might be worth the effort. Now, this is only one bookshelf worth of, oh no, this is 1.5 bookshelves worth of effort. So I'm kind of committed, but I'm also kind of regretting my life choices. That happens a lot with my hobbies. Anyway, did you guys have a favorite page? And is Eerie an artist that is an auto buy or just someone that you're interested? I'd love to know in the comment section below. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me for now. And as always, aloha.